Hi, this is Holly Doherty, Sculptor of Self-Worth at rediscoverradiance.com. I am your NACWI, personal stylist of self-care, bringing you a capsule wardrobe of self-care essentials that you can mix and match to meet your personal style. In the past couple of installments of this expert series, we've dealt with some pretty weighty topics. Letting go, setting boundaries, saying no. You know, I promised you in the beginning that it wasn't going to be all pedicures and massages, right? But you know, there are some pretty hefty emotions that can come up when we start practicing those aspects of self-care. And in this installment of the self-care series, we're going to deal with two of those emotions, guilt and shame. So let me just say that a little bit of guilt can be a good thing, okay? It can be a good thing. When you've dropped the ball, when you've hurt someone, when you've just messed up, that little bit of guilt is like a nudge from your conscience. It's a little reminder from God that you messed up and you need to go make it right, okay? It's a good thing. And like one of my mentors always says, listen to that nudge or you might get the 2x4, okay? That little bit of healthy guilt, we call it, is a good thing. But persistent guilt, you know, guilt that lasts way past the repentance phase, guilt that you feel days and weeks and months and years after, that is not good. That holds us back from moving forward. Okay, persistent guilt is not good. And there's another type of guilt, which is false guilt. And that's the guilt you feel when you haven't done anything wrong. You know, maybe you feel like you should feel guilty about doing something. You know, we feel guilty about things we've done, things we haven't done. It can raise its head when we start taking care of ourselves. And I'm sure you felt this in your self-care journey. You know, you said no to someone and then you felt guilty, like, oh, maybe I could have fit one more thing into my schedule after all. Or you set a boundary with someone and then you felt guilty about it. You know, am I being selfish? Am I being unloving? Am I being unkind? That's false guilt. You've done nothing wrong, but you feel guilty about it anyway. You know, it's easy to guilt ourselves into thinking we should be doing more, being more giving, less selfish, you name it. You know, we feel guilty for all these things we feel we should do or not do. That should monster is loud and persistent in our brains. You know, and a lot of times that false guilt comes when we feel like we should be living up to the expectations of other people. In other words, we let ourselves and our actions be defined by other people and we're not true to ourselves. And that's often a result of guilt. Let's face it, there are no shortage of things to feel guilty about. But guilt rarely changes anything. Its main goal is to make us feel crappy about ourselves. It's not helpful. So letting go of that guilt is an act of self-care. Guilt focuses on our behavior, but shame focuses on our worth. We feel shame when we feel not good enough, when we feel broken, damaged, when we're ashamed of our past, and we don't want anyone to see the real us because we're ashamed of it. So we keep parts of ourselves hidden because we fear that judgment from ourselves. Ourselves, let's be honest. And judgment from other people. We feel shame about that. So letting go of the shame and the guilt are courageous and necessary acts of self-care. They're necessary for your emotional and mental well-being and our physical well-being and spiritual well-being. It impacts every area of our lives. Because guilt and shame eat away at your soul and they keep you from being your best you. They keep you from being present. They keep you from being confident. They keep you from being yourself. Your mistakes do not define you, and your past does not define you. You owe it to yourself to let go of the guilt and the shame. I'm not saying it's easy. A lot of times it takes some digging into your past to identify the sources of that guilt and shame. And that's why I say, in the beginning of every video that I'm bringing you self-care essentials. Like a little black dress, you can dress it up or down. You make it unique to your style. Because your journey is as unique as you are. And while your shame and your guilt, they share common aspects with women everywhere, but the specific circumstances of what caused your shame and guilt are unique to you. And I would love to give you some one-size-fits-all shame-busting mantra on this video that will fix it once and for all. I'd love to do that, but I can't, because your mantra will be unique to you. And I encourage you to come up with one. I did the best I could with the knowledge I had at the time, whatever it is for you. But I have to tell you, you can repeat this mantra until you're blue in the face. You can say it till the cows come home. But unless you do the inner work to identify, confront, and release that guilt and shame, until you set the foundation to believe what you say, all the mantras and the affirmations in the world will just feel like you're lying to yourself. I hate to break it to you, chickie, but you've got to do the inner work. There are no shortcuts here. Okay? You have to do the inner work. And it's easier when you have a guide, someone who's been there, someone who has the tools and a system to keep you on track and moving forward. Okay? Silence breeds shame. Silence breeds shame, and you'll never let go of its hold on you until you're open about it. So if you're ready to let go of the guilt and the shame that hold you back, that keep you from being your most confident, authentic self, then let's chat, because that's what I do. I have the tools and the system in place. I hold a safe space for you to be honest and real. And I have the tools in the system to help you find yourself, love yourself, and be yourself through and through. No more excuses, no more hiding. Because success without self-love isn't success. It's just a prettier emotional prison. So get a guide, get some help, do the inner work. I've opened up a few spots on my calendar this week to talk to you about how I can support you in that journey, and I'll put the links in the comments. So remember to download your handout from the file section of this group. And if you want to be a part of a connected community of like-minded entrepreneurs for ongoing training, support, and encouragement like this, then I invite you to join NACWE. I'll put that link in the comments as well. So until next time, stay beautiful, do the inner work, and take great care of yourself.